Right, okay, folks, we're on to a new segment we're introducing to the podcast called Indie Spotlight. This will kind of be substituting with Talk Nerdy to Me in the main podcast, and you'll find it quite strange that it's on the end of the podcast. But we've kind of like, we're trying new things and everything else, so this podcast is going to be a big changeover from the other one that we normally do. But for our first ever guest on Indie Spotlight, we have Nimrod back, who is CEO of Boogie Dice. We've decided to have him on specifically for a very, you'll find out why, because he's launched a very interesting Kickstarter. So, Nimrod, thank you for joining us on the show.
Thank you. Great to be here.
Yep. So, I know what Boogie Dice is. Chris knows what Boogie Dice is, but for the listeners, and it's a very generic question as well, explain to me what Boogie Dice is.
Okay, so Boogie Dice are the world's first self-rolling, sound-activated gaming dice, which means that they roll automatically by themselves. Inside each die, there's a vibration motor, rechargeable batteries, 3 LED lights, and a microphone. When you snap your fingers or clap your hand, Boogie Dice will start to roll for a few seconds, then stop. This project is all about fun. Boogie Dice can be used in any dice-based game or just as a toy.
Mm-hmm. Okay, very, very good. For anyone listening as well, I'd tell you to check their Kickstarter page out because you'll see what the dice actually does, and it's actually quite amazing. Because when I watched it, I was like, I definitely need to put some money towards this Kickstarter because it's just one of those things, like if you were playing a board game, it's just one of those things where for a dice, you just want something just to do something like that.
Yeah, I was telling Adnan right before we started recording, like the first thing I thought of when I saw this Kickstarter was not every weekend. I wish it was every weekend, but there are some weekends where I get together with my friends and we start drinking and stuff like that, and we get pretty drunk. And for some reason, board games come out. I don't know why, but we always resort to card games or board games and stuff. And I'm like, Boogie Dice would be amazing. Like, this would be so cool for, like, parties and stuff and just, like, general getting together with people. And just, it adds, like, an extra, like flavor to any game, even the ones that you guys, are making for this. And just such a cool idea. Something that you're like, how hasn't this been made yet? I'm so happy you guys are moving forward and you guys are producing this.
Thank you. Thank you very much. And I have to agree. What we're doing basically is we're now designing games that goes hand in hand with the dice, because in those games the dice act as a timer, as a buzzer, as a decision maker. So we're building an ecosystem around the dice, and we are hoping to release more games in this campaign and in future campaigns.
That is so cool. That is really neat.
Mm-hmm. Chris, you got some interesting questions. You want to fire one away at Nimrod?
Actually, yeah. Speaking of the game you guys designed for Boogie Dice, Bots Battleground, I wanted to ask you, why did you and the team decide on making Bots Battleground the first game to be designed with Boogie Dice in mind for it?
Okay, so this is actually a great question. We've been thinking about it a long time before we decided to release the first game. My partner, Sal Shai, is a well-known game designer. He's been doing 3 games inside of Kickstarter, very successful. He did the Agents and the Agent Returns and King's Down. So he's the expert about card games and board games, and he takes the lead in those decisions. But the reason that we decided to do Bots Battleground and design Bots Battleground to be a hardcore strategic card game is because we believe that in Kickstarter those games do best, and this is what the audience inside of Kickstarter wants. Mm-hmm. We believe that in the future we will release more casual games, more games for parties, or more games for family and children. But we wanted to start it with the native audience inside of Kickstarter because it would be easiest.
Mm-hmm.
Very cool. Okay.
Interesting. I have an interesting question. So, whereabouts are you based right now?
Okay, so it's a bit tricky. I'm based in Israel. My brother, which is the investor of the company till now, is in the U.S. in New York, and Sar and his wife, which is also a team member. They used to live in Israel, but now they moved to the United Kingdom. So we are all over the place. Our graphic designer is in Australia, so it's like a totally remote campaign, but it's working till now.
This is something that I was interested with, because when I was talking to one of your PR people, they said you were based in Israel, and then you have like your team's quite small anyway because you are indie developers and you're working together. But seeing that you're all so far spread apart in doing one project, how has it been like communicating in different places?
Yeah, it's because everybody has its own role and its own responsibilities. Like I'm doing the development, Sarah is doing the game, Alicia's wife is doing the marketing and the PR, my brother does the business. So everybody has their own responsibility, and I think if we needed to develop something together, it would be a hassle. But because everybody has its own deal, it works right now.
Okay, that's really interesting. It's something I really wanted to ask. I was like, this is a great team that you got, so in like diverse locations. Chris thought this question as well, and I saw it as well. Boogie Dice has hit its funding goal, gone past it as well, so congratulations on that.
Yes, congratulations.
Thank you.
And you have 29 days to go, but the big thing is that now that you've got the money, stretch goals, as any Kickstarter campaign has, what kind of other ideas do you have in mind for adding stretch goals?
Well, actually, stretch goals in this specific projects are really easy because Dice is an extremely flexible product. You can get really creative with it. So we already offered new designs, and we're gonna offer more shapes. You know, there are people who plays, Dungeons and Dragons and wants to have a 4D dice and a 20D dice. So we have a lot of, upcoming products in our stretch goal, and people are really excited about it.
Okay, that's very interesting. Touching on something that you just said as well, you talked about, people playing board games, like very competitive ones as well. Did you guys do marketing with them and like speak to them directly about, a dice that you're building now that they would probably want, or what they would want to see in a dice?
Sure. Like I said, SAR is more connected to the market. I'll be honest. I'm more on the developing side at this one because honestly, I'm a casual gamer. I play, games that everybody plays, but I'm not into the hardcore games, and I don't play Dungeons and Dragons. So this is the reason why I teamed up with SAR and his wife, because they are many years in the industry and I really trust them. So all the decision about which dice will go first and about the design and about the games, I completely trust SAR, and this is his deal.
Okay, but they still like try and relay stuff to you anyway when they're doing stuff.
Sure.
And you're managing most of them as well, so you just keep an eye out on everything.
Yeah.
Okay, that's very interesting. We're not going to keep you on for too long because I think you've done an excellent job describing your own product and everything about it. But Chris, again, pointed out something very interesting to me, and it was that the fact that you've launched other Kickstarter campaigns and been very successful. It's hard to break into Kickstarter as well, just to kind of launch and put an elevator pitch forward. If anyone was listening to this podcast and wanted to take kind of an idea, say something like Boogie Dice, or had their own idea, how would you say they should present it to Kickstarter? And like what teams they should get, and as many factors as you can think of.
Okay, so if I understand right, you're asking me like tips in order to run a campaign, or how to pitch it best, or this is the question you asked?
Yeah, that's basically what I'm asking. Yeah.
Okay, so Kickstarter and crowdfunding is very straightforward. You have to present exactly what you are. You have to present what you have in your hand. You have to be completely honest because people are extremely engaged, and you have to really put yourself out there. You cannot hide. You can see an example for that in a campaign that Kickstarter just canceled. I don't know if you guys heard about it. It's the I think it's called Scarf Razor.
Yeah,
because they were a bit dishonest and because they didn't present prototypes. Kickstarter is all about revealing yourself, your product, your progress. So just be honest. People are smart. People understand situation. They understand that if you're in the beginning of development, you only have prototypes, and try to, embrace people to work with you and not try to making excuses or hide things, or just, be dishonest.
Mm-hmm.
So I think the best tip that I can give is be yourself, present who you are and what's the product and what's your progress, and people will, if they will connect to you and the product, they will support you.
Mm-hmm. Okay, that's very interesting. I take it that, Kickstarter is not the be-all, end-all for you. I take it you want to start up a big company or, be somewhere you can publish stuff yourself. Do you think, what kind of ideas do you have in mind after Kickstarter? Will you launch another Kickstarter for the Boogie Dice, or do you think you'll go a bit more?
Well, I don't know if you guys know, but I did a few campaigns before Kickstarter. Maybe I want to talk about it later. But Boogie Dice are not my first product.
Mm-hmm.
Right now, I see great potential in Boogie Dice. I think that we can expand to more dice and more connected toys, and we can really build an ecosystem for game developers that want to use our dice in their game. So definitely, if it's going to succeed after Kickstarter, and this is the challenge, to succeed after Kickstarter and not only on the campaign, because the campaign, no matter how much you raise during the campaign, it's not enough money to build a company and build a brand and market yourself. You have to break into stores and Amazon and eBay. So the first challenge is to make Boogie Dice a successful product. Then we want to expand it to the ecosystem that I told you about, and encourage other game designers to use it and make the Boogie Dice a mainstream product that everybody knows about, and something that they can recognize when they go to the store. Mm-hmm. And after it, maybe to do more products. I've been developing different products in the last 4 or 5 years, mm-hmm. and I hope to continue doing them and bringing them to market using Kickstarter or other ways.
Mm-hmm. No, that's brilliant. That's brilliant to hear. I think I'm out of questions right now. Off the top of my head, Chris, do you have anything to pitch forward, or?
Well, I just had one more question for Nimrod, and this was going back to when Adnan was talking about that you guys met your initial goal already. I wanted to ask you, so you reached the initial goal that you guys have put out with the pledges. How do you proceed forward with the project? Because you guys have 29 days left, and you guys have already received even more money from the initial goal that you guys had. Do you wait? Do you work on certain aspects of the project and wait and see what the final Kickstarter pledge amount is going to be, and then you work on other aspects of it? How do you go forward now, knowing that you have
the question? Okay, I will answer the question is really individual to the product, so I will explain what we are doing. And I know that 50,000 sounds a lot, right, but it's only about 2,000 dice. Right. And in order to have reasonable prices and reasonable product, we have to manufacture at least 10,000. So mm-hmm. It is correct that we reach our original goal, mm-hmm. and we will go and manufacture the dice. But our challenge is to try and sell at least 10,000 dice, so we can make it even better and reduce the cost and have a high quality product. Mm-hmm. So the funding part of our company is just beginning. We're not, we didn't raise seed money, so we are probably on our own. $50,000 is approximately the price that we spent till now on development and the campaign. Mm-hmm. So we still have a long way, even money-wise. Right. It doesn't mean that if we raise the 50,000, now we can sit back and everything is great. So
right, of course.
We still want to honestly, we need to get to about 100, 150 in order for us to be, completely self-funded and self-made and not needing an external investor.
Right.
So right now what I'm doing is I'm trying to get funds from other places, other investors, also manage the campaign. But we already started the manufacturing process. We started to design the molds, and I'm going to fly to China in about 3 weeks. So we're trying to do it, simultaneously, but still we have to, do better in this foreign campaign.
Yeah, it's really good insight to hear because, for some people that might be listening in, right now or for the podcast, they might think that, once they reach that initial goal, that's it, right? They could just, like you said, it's not like we're sitting back and, drinking our martinis and stuff. Like, there's still so much more work that goes into it, So I think that's a great perspective that you put out there for people.
Yeah. Believe me that 50,000 was the minimum that we needed just to pay to other constructors to deliver the dies.
Right.
And you have to save money for emergencies and also the shipping. Mm-hmm. So this I learned from previous campaign. $50,000 is, believe me, it's not enough when you're talking about a company. Yeah, it's just.
But I mean, it's good that with Boogie Dice, that someone like you is heavily involved with it. The fact that you have such great Kickstarter experience, because you know where not to sit back and you know how much money we need. You have a very good structured plan, and I think sometimes people don't see that in the Kickstarter campaign because it does have all the, the text about what the product is, but when they don't realize that it's someone like yourself behind it, they kind of forget that there's some rigorous planning in it.
Yeah, I can give you an example. For example, people really want the 20D dice. It's the most common dice in Dungeons and Dragons. Mm-hmm. So they're saying, okay, you got your 50, just why can't you do it right now?
Yeah.
And we try to explain another die, it's another shape, another design, another balance that we have to do to make sure that it's, completely random. It's another set of molds. Also the charger needs different molds because we need to charge it in a different shape. So it's a completely new product and people just don't understand it. But also most people don't think about it. So I don't blame them. I try to explain, listen guys, this is another product. We're definitely going to do it, but give us more time. We want to do it responsibly and not just jump over our heads like many other Kickstarter do sometimes, over promise. But we're going to do it slow and steady. And then finally we're going to get there, I'm sure.
Yeah, that's brilliant. Chris, do you have anything else?
No, that's all I had.
No, I don't either. Do you want to run the show out?
Yeah, sure. Okay. Well, first of all, thank you very much, Nimrod, for coming on the show and for speaking to us about Boogie Dice and the Kickstarter project. And to everyone listening, please check it out. We'll have a link in the article, right in the descriptions. Yeah. And you guys should definitely check it out. It's a really cool product, and I think it's going to be a huge hit, and I really hope it is. Alrighty, but that's it for this week's episode. Don't forget to follow the Gamer Headlines Show on Twitter at TGH Show, and like our official Facebook page, The Gamer Headlines Show, for up-to-date episodes from Gamer Headlines' official podcast. Additionally, The Gamer Headlines Show can be found on Podbean, Stitcher, iTunes, YouTube, and of course, right here at GamerHeadlines.com. Thanks for tuning in, guys, and we'll see you next week.
See you later, guys.